everyone, Miss GoElectric here. The last time I reviewed a Vtuvia e-bike was the SF20 folding bike, and that bike was crude and didn't have the highest quality of components, but it was an extremely affordable price point, so I thought it was a pretty good deal. Now Vtuvia has sent me the SN100, and this seems to me like it's going after the light-duty, budget-friendly mountain biking segment. So let's talk about its specifications and features, and then take it out for a ride. First and foremost, this bike was delivered in a box that was really beat up. And when I opened it up to assemble it, there were very minimal instructions. So I'll actually leave a link in the description below so you can see a build video. This bike is made out of aluminum and it weighs 72 pounds, which is pretty good for this category. I also like that the design elements of the tubular structures are squared off, and I think the design is distinctive, much better than what I've seen from previous Vtuvia bikes I've reviewed. And also, this frame supports riders anywhere between 5'8" and 6'5", so this is really designed for taller riders. They do not offer a step-through version. This has a payload capacity of 300 to 350 pounds as well. Next up is that this bike comes in 4 different paint colors, and one of them actually being a camo color, which appeals more to a sportsman crowd. And that's kind of obvious as well with this huge rack on the back. This is one of the most robust racks that I've seen, and it's claiming to be able to support up to 25 kilograms or about 55 pounds. I would expect it to actually support more, but it still nonetheless looks like it's going to be able to take a lot with me. Another element of the frame design is that the cables run through it, so it is a rather clean design. As far as cable management goes, they're attached with zip ties up front here, and I wish there was a shroud that could cover this to keep it kind of contained and a little bit better on the aesthetic side of it, just because the rest of the bike looks pretty good. Now, they also integrated a front headlamp here, but unfortunately the execution looks pretty poor here because there's just a screw that goes through the plastic part where there wasn't even a hole for it, and it rattles around and isn't really sealed off. So I'd like to see better execution. I do like the design thought though. A couple last notes on the aesthetic is I think the graphics on here are kind of cool and they work well with the bike. And I like the fact that they added this black chain ring here, but this graphic on the battery, which looks to be a sticker because there's some bubbling going on here, is not nice. I'm gonna actually just peel that right off after this review because I don't think that that looks very good. Speaking of the battery, I prefer an integrated design, but actually this doesn't bother me too much because of the step-over design and the way it's positioned in here. And actually removing the battery and putting it back on is pretty easy. But this battery doesn't have a lot of capacity, especially considering its size. It's a 48 volt, 13 amp hour battery, so that's equivalent to 624 watt hours. Vtuvia says that this will get you anywhere between 20 and 45 miles of range, depending on whether you're using all throttle or some of the pedal assist modes. At this price point of about $1,700, there are other bikes in this segment that offer close to a kilowatt hour of battery capacity. So I think they need to be a little bit more competitive when it comes to battery capacity. All right, on to power. This bike offers a 750 watt rear hub motor that produces 80 Newton meters of torque, so it should be able to tackle any hill that you take it on. Now, something to note is that the top speed of this bike out of the box is 15.5 miles per hour, but you do have the ability to unlock it in the computer system, so we'll be doing that and testing it out on the trail. The last thing I want to talk about is comfort. The seat here doesn't have any springs on it or anything like that, and it seems pretty firm, so it is more of an aggressive style, especially combined with this handlebar setup. It's very straightforward and it looks like I'll be leaning a little bit more forward, but there is the ability to adjust the stem a little bit, so if I want a little bit more of an upright position, I can make that adjustment. Well, eventually it was going to happen, but the first snowflakes have fallen this year, and now it's time for me to do a few things. One, change the mats in my car, and another thing is to add the winter liner to my helmet. Now this here is the Xnito helmet, and this is one I wear in almost every single one of my e-bike reviews. The reason why I like this helmet, you guys can watch the review, but to make it short and simple, this covers you up to 28 miles per hour when you're riding on e-bikes, electric scooters, and other e-mobility devices. The winter helmet liner is kind of like almost feels like a fleece material in it, but on the interior it has this mesh, so even when I have this helmet on me and I do get a little bit sweaty, not only is it gonna keep me warm, but it'll probably be moisture wicking as well. But you'll notice here that the padding around the ears have this mesh piece right here, and there are holes that come through the inside of it, so you can still hear while you're riding, which is a really important safety feature. I'm gonna install this inside the helmet, and all I have to do is just take the original padding out and secure this where there are Velcro straps already. So these little Velcro dots are also included when you get the winter liner, so if you do need to add more, if they pop out, you can, but I have them all situated in place from the original padding that I had in here. So all I have to do is stick it inside. Now these straps on the sides will just go right in between this rubberized piece. Let's see how it fits. They come in 2 different sizes, a medium and a large. I ordered the medium. All right, this feels nice and snug, and I can feel it is protecting me already because there's a little bit of a breeze and it's not cold. So I'm ready to ride. Let's go do some winter riding. All right, guys, I'm gonna start off this review on the Vtuvia SN100 on road because I'm headed to a mountain bike trail right now. So we'll see how it does on the trail, but first let's get to the trail on the road. I'm in the first pedal assist mode, and it's pretty low power output. I like this computer though because it has really big, nice readings and it's colored, so that's super helpful, especially when I'm looking at the battery gauge. Those bars are blue. Take it up to second pedal assist. A little bit more of a boost of power here. Now there are some customizations that you can make in this computer, and this bike, its top speed, Vtuvia says is about 15 and a half miles per hour, I think is the quoted top speed, and that's before you unlock it. So I had gone into the computer and unlocked it to be able to get access to all the power. I believe at this point it will go up to 30 miles per hour, but we'll see when we do our throttle test. Now keep in mind, right now, this is a pretty bumpy road, but even on the flat surface, I've got like a bobbing type feeling that's happening right now, and I think both of these wheels are out of true, which is really unfortunate because I'll have to take it into a bike shop in order to fix that. And you know, it might have been a problem with the shipping process because this bike, the box was really damaged, and I had done quite a bit of work to the brakes because they're really squeaky. I cleaned them with alcohol to try to make sure that they don't squeak, but they're still gonna squeak, so you might hear that throughout the ride. But they definitely could do a little bit better on the packing and shipping process of their bikes, at least in the case for mine. All right, pedal assist 2, looks like I'm hitting about 12 miles per hour or so. This is comfortable. I'm gonna move up to pedal assist 3 though. We'll see how much more power to give. Lots of bouncing around with this untrue wheel. It's unfortunate. But pretty good power out of pedal assist 3. You can definitely hear more of that motor. Bump up my shifting here. There we go. Good 17 miles an hour. Let's bump it up to pedal assist 4. Definitely getting noisier as I move up into the pedal assist modes, but good power. I'm up to about 22 pretty easily. Let's kick it up to 5. Definitely more motor output. It's helping me to get up to about 20, 22, 23 miles an hour. "24 miles an hour. I'm going downhill a little bit though. Plenty of gears, matched with the power for the pedal assist. And although this isn't really designed to be a bike that you can take like on road as a commuter, it will get you to the trail, as you can see, just fine. All right, let's take this on the trail where this bike is designed to perform. So far, these tires are definitely feeling like they're absorbing a lot, and the front fork is doing a pretty good job of absorbing a lot as well. These tires are super knobby, and they're handling the gravel pretty well too. I'm not slipping around too much. The hill just fine. Nice and easy. Actually, I'm going to take it down a little bit. Just a little sandy, a little slippery there, but not too bad. Pretty aggressive rocks here. Could probably shift down, stand to shift down a little bit. I am bouncing around though, and I think that's probably because of these untrue wheels a little bit with the terrain, but I've deflated my tires to about 10 psi, so it should provide more cushion for me through these trails, and in combination with that front fork, it seems like it's handling these rocks and roots nicely. Now that I'm getting in a little bit tighter of a trail though, I'm gonna wanna drop down my pedal assist. This saddle is not the most comfortable. Squeaky brakes. Now I tried to clean these out and everything. They're gonna definitely need to be broken in. Going up these trails nice though. I'm just bouncing around a little too much though. Let's talk about the riding position. Now, you'll notice my arms are extended, and the stem is actually adjustable, so I can move it forward or bring it towards me, depending on the length of my arms. And that's gonna be really great, especially for those taller riders, because this rider height is between 5'8" and 6'5". So if you have longer arms, you can push it out a little bit further away from you. I'm in pedal assist 3 in these steep hills. It's giving me some power, but it is struggling a little bit. Pump it up a little bit to pedal assist 4. This is a 750 watt motor. It's a little noisy, especially in the higher levels of pedal assist. A little bit more air out of my tire. They say that PSI rating can be all the way down to 5 at a minimum, so I got it just right around there, and it's proving to be pretty comfortable. As far as the grips go, right now I'm wearing gloves, but I've ridden around with the gloves off, and it is a rubberized material, which I really like, but it has a pretty aggressive, like, knobby texture to it. And when I'm putting a lot of pressure, since my riding position is kind of downward onto the handlebars, I'm putting a lot of pressure on those grips, and the texture is not as comfortable as I would like, just because they're digging into my skin. So I might swap those out to get something a little bit more comfortable. Let's see, I have to depress on the brakes so much because they're so squishy. These brakes need to be bled. I wish they were set up ahead of time and shipped already ready to go, but definitely got to do some work in making these more precise. They should have good performance and stopping power though once I get those situated, because I have Logan hydraulic brakes on other bikes and they seem to perform well. All right, I'm going to do a throttle test to see how this performs. As a reminder, I have unlocked this system to give me full access to power. And this is a thumb throttle on the right side. I really like that. But let's see what it has to offer. Watch out, guys. All right, it looks like I'm pretty much topped out at 23. I wasn't going uphill or anything, so 23 miles per hour top speed on the throttle. The throttle is a very gradual transition up to speed, and I think that that is just fine, but it's very different from the other Vtuvia that I've reviewed. Their folding e-bike was very, very fast and very quick off the line. This one is not the same. I mean, just on this incline, it's struggling a little bit to get all the way up. But as you see, my battery gauge is fluctuating with the power that I'm utilizing. I started off at about 93% when I left, and you just saw right there on the computer screen it said 10%. I let off of the throttle and the pedaling just to see how much it will bring it back, and I've already jumped back up to 42% after it's gone all the way down to 10. So it is giving me the information while I'm riding. It's basically telling me, hey, if you keep outputting this much power as you go, this is what you have left. Well, I think it's about time we head back and I share my final thoughts on this bike. All right, now that I spent some time riding around on the Vtuvia SN100, let me share some of my final thoughts. And this is going to be short and sweet because it's getting cold out here, and this actually might even be one of my last e-bike reviews for the season. Now, first we're going to start off by talking about who this bike is for. Vtuvia actually markets this bike as a men's bike, and it is a limited demographic to an extent because it is for riders who are 5'8" to 6'5". So a lot of women I know and some guys that I know are just too short for a bike like this because of that rider height limitation. Now, if you're looking for comfort, I probably wouldn't recommend this either because this is really designed to be a more aggressive riding position. It's fairly maneuverable because it's about 72 pounds, but this is designed to be going on mountainous trails. So I think it is fine at doing that, but it's definitely not comfortable. Let's talk about price and then quality. As far as price goes, this at the time of publishing is listed at about $1,600, which is a decent price point. But for about $200 less, you could opt for a Velectric Nomad that does pretty much everything that this does, and it has a little bit more comfortable riding position because it is more of a cruiser. And $200 more, you could get something that is a little bit more powerful like the Magicycle. So that is something to consider. But again, this is a mountain bike style, so that is something that you'll have to think about when wanting to purchase this bike. I haven't tested anything in this category before, and I haven't seen anything quite like it in this category at this pricing. If I was shopping for an electric mountain bike, I would probably save up a little bit more money and opt for a Luna X2 or a Specialized or even a Frey. On to quality. First and foremost, on this frame design, this integrated light up front was not executed very well. So I would like to see them improve this design, and I like the concept of it, but execution was done a little bit poorly in my opinion. Next is the fact that this is the first bike that I've had shipped to me where the wheels were untrue and the brakes have a lot of give in them. They haven't been bled, so there's some work to be done. This bike is definitely for someone who is more mechanically inclined, that wants to spend the time working on the bike and has the tools to be able to do so. I do my best to review quality e-bikes, and a lot of e-bike manufacturers try to send me their bikes to review, but I've turned down quite a few because I want to make sure that I'm bringing the best quality to you guys. In this case, I can say that this bike looked great on paper, but it's not for everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching this latest review on the Vtuvia SN100. If you want to learn more information, see the link in the description below. Until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.